Hello and welcome to a special fall edition of Starside Chat. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron, and with me as always is Zach. How's it going, Zach?
Good. I'm just realizing in our show notes I have the Switch Sports update in here twice.
Oh, you do? Zach, it's a chilly fall morning in America today, and it's time to talk about video games.
I kind of like the cooler weather, as long as it doesn't get too cold. But
I will say I haven't turned my heater on yet, but that's because I own a number of very powerful heated blankets, and I enjoy being under them while the house is cold. But it is getting to be that time where people are lighting those pilot lights in their furnaces.
I have also not switched on my heater. I live in an apartment, so I just have, like a heater / AC unit. But if I can avoid using it, I do as much as possible because it makes the electricity bill very expensive. So typically, especially when it's like this, where it's like chilly, but it's not like crazy cold, I just will put on a sweatshirt and I'm good to go.
Yeah, anything above freezing, I feel like, is okay. But I did wake up today, and when I woke up, my phone said it was 31 degrees outside. And I was like, oh man, but now it's like 42 degrees.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's in like the mid 40s here, so like, it's fine. Plus, I kind of enjoy getting up on a weekend morning with it being a little bit chilly still and have my morning coffee. It's very nice.
Well, speaking of very nice, should we get into some news?
I guess so. Now, the story I just said we put in here twice, there's a new update out for Switch Sports that added golf, but it broke basically everything else. I mean,
what do you mean it broke?
I guess it didn't actually break everything else, but Nintendo, there was like some sort of bug in it, so Nintendo had to take down like the online modes, and save data backups are currently also down. So don't know what that's about. I was actually gonna jump back in to try out the golf stuff because I played a bunch of it over the summer, Switch Sports, and enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. Was waiting on that golf mode, and right now it seems like maybe you can't actually play it very much unless you just play it offline. But one of the thing I did was play a lot of that soccer mode online, which was surprisingly fun and a good way to.
I remember you talking about that, how surprisingly fun that was. You like broke it out with the family, and everyone was having a great time.
Yeah, well, that, and I played it online as well. It was fun. It reminded me a lot of Lucio Ball in Overwatch, that special like arcade mode that they do just about every summer. So it was fun playing that, but I guess I'll have to wait and check out the golf later. Also, there was an update to Dome Keeper. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it at all.
I don't know. I have been playing it this week. So is the new modifier that like twice as long thing?
It adds like a double iron modifier. So every time you get iron, you get double the iron, but it like also doubles the cost of iron for like every upgrade. So
yeah, I don't know why that's good.
I was gonna say, it seems to cancel out, you would think.
Not only that, but like if you don't upgrade your carrying capacity first, like that just makes the game harder.
Yeah, I feel like you would need to spend more time upgrading your player character, your Dome Keeper, in order to be able to carry it all.
Something I have been doing, though, is I have been using the waves take twice as long to arrive, and that has really opened up. I completed my first huge map, which right now is the biggest map. And the double length, between having to, come back to the dome, really, I think, improves gameplay a lot.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have watched a lot of Dome Keeper. I've probably watched more Dome Keeper than I have played it lately. But there's like a YouTuber that I follow that's been playing a lot of it, and he like will try the different modifiers out, and like his community will like challenge him to do different things, and so he'll try stuff out. which has kept watching it pretty interesting. I got it clear like a few days ago, but I think I just returned to like a smaller map size because I wanted a shorter play session. And I was like, nope, it's still a lot of fun to get it clear on this. Now, the question I have is, I think it's possible, but I've never gotten close to it. But you should be able to survive that final wave after you get the relic without the little bomb going off.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Have you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always play on the easiest setting, though.
Oh. I was going to say, I've been playing on hard, which I think is like the medium difficult lately.
Yeah.
And I have never gotten to the point where I could actually survive that final wave without the bomb.
That's actually how I do it mostly. And then, so like my first couple of clears, I did that. And then one of them, I was taking a super long time to do it just because I had messed up. I was investing in random stuff and trying stuff out. And then that bomb went off and I was like, man, what upgrade did I take that made this happen? And then I looked up and I was like, oh, this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that is what happens most of the time. If you're good enough or you've really built up your upgrades, you can actually survive it without needing that. But
I'm so curious. I really do hope that they continue to add stuff pretty regularly because I would love to see. There's that other type of keeper that is not unlocked yet, and I wonder what their deal is. And I also would love to see what other domes they can think up, because I initially was not into the sword dome, and you were like, no, it's better. And I tried it again, and sure enough, yeah, the sword dome is far superior once you get the hang of it. And so I would love to see additional domes.
Yeah, I also think they could keep adding on to this and keep building out some of the content and features with like different dome keepers, different dome styles, and just like different modifiers that they could add to keep it interesting.
I really wonder what the other one was called like the Assessor or something.
Yeah.
And I wonder what the difference is going to be. Like, if they're going to mine in a different way, or I'm not sure. I'm so curious to know. And that is something that's definitely coming since it's already in the game. It just says like not available yet. So when that drops, that's going to be something I check out real quick.
Yeah, I also am very curious about that. I think I heard that the developer of the game was like tweeting about how that's coming soon.
Ooh.
So we may not have that much longer to wait. Let me just do a quick check. Oh, here we go. They have a little post called Meet the Assessor on Steam.
Did they say what the special thing is about it?
They have a protective cloak and a distinctive helmet. Question is...
I knew those.
Yeah.
I wonder, because it's like assessing things, I wonder if they have some sort of like built-in probing ability, but it takes them longer to drill or something. Or maybe they don't even have a drill.
They effortlessly glide using energy field generators instead of jetpack. The energy holds mining applications as well. Focused into a powerful orb that tears apart rocks by launching the orb instead of mining, I guess.
Oh, so you're not... That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like you've got a little... Here, I will put this post in our show notes.
While I take a look at this, what's this No Man's Sky news?
So No Man's Sky's latest update is out. It's called Waypoint, and it sort of coincided with the launch of No Man's Sky on Switch. It brings the version update up to 4.0.
I heard it changes the inventory system.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, to be honest. I was thinking about jumping back in. I really think that the thing that's going to make me jump back into No Man's Sky is whenever they come out with whatever the next expedition is. I know there's supposed to be like custom modes basically so that you can get into things a little bit quicker. And so you can kind of tinker with some of the settings, I guess, to kind of tailor the experience to like your play style or what you want out of it. But yeah, I think I'm more interested in jumping back in once they launch a new expedition. Because those are like the fun things that you can do sort of after you've, spent like hundreds of hours playing the game. to like have them give you something that's sort of new and feels a little bit more like objective driven as opposed to just like going around and crafting stuff. But yeah, they've got in their menu, they've got like a whole bunch of different settings that you can go through, and you can kind of customize different settings around like the survival aspects and combat and crafting and stuff like that. So you can sort of tailor your experience a little bit. But mainly, I think the thing is that the game is now out on Switch, and it doesn't have multiplayer with it. So it is just basically like playing the game in offline mode, I guess. But cool that it's out on Switch. I mean, obviously it's not going to look as good as if you were playing it on other platforms, but crazy. It's such a big game to have it on Switch is a pretty cool thing. I've played it on Steam Deck, and it is very cool to be able to play that game portably. So yeah, I would say consider jumping in on Switch if you haven't played much No Man's Sky or you haven't played it at all. But for me, because I have a Steam Deck, I kind of have the best of both worlds where I can play it portably, but it still has like the online stuff. So
now this isn't in our show notes, but speaking of Steam Decks, everybody has been adding custom launch videos. Have you added a custom launch video to your Steam Deck?
No, I haven't looked into that.
I think Steam said they might officially start supporting them, so you can like get official new turn on things, but I've seen very funny ones on TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, Zach, I have posted something in the chat that is a TikTok video that I saw a couple days ago, and I want you to take a look at it. Or it's not in the chat, it's in the show notes. But this is some new game, and it looks like body cam footage. I didn't know it was a game at first.
Yeah, it does look like body cam footage.
It looks like, because a body cam is already so grainy and like fisheye, it helps to make this look, because this is probably like Unreal Engine 5, it helps to make this look very realistic because you're already expecting it to be kind of like grainy and stuff. And you can tell like when the gun shoots that it's definitely a game, but when the person is just wandering around, it definitely looks like someone who's just playing like paintball or something. Isn't this interesting? This is like one of the most realistic demos I've seen recently.
Yeah, it does look very realistic. It definitely looks like body cam footage. But yeah, you're right. I can hear like even the sound effects of the gun. It's like that's where you know it's not real.
I'm realizing this is maybe not a good thing to talk about on a podcast because it's like very visual, but it's just something I wanted to show you because I thought it was interesting.
It is interesting. I'll give you that. Oh yeah, I'm looking at some of the Steam Deck custom start animations. Somebody made a GameCube one.
I saw one that was like a Breaking Bad one that was like a recreation of the Breaking Bad credits with the music and stuff, but it said Steam Deck. I saw another one that was a Stadia launch, but then Stadia is crossed out and there's like a sad face. Speaking
of sad Stadia news, I guess that's a way to jump into another one of our stories. Stadia is sort of abandoning two games. I mean, for sure one. But they do have a couple of exclusives on Stadia. One of them is that Guilt game that is like sort of a cartoon animation sort of horror story. I never played it, but that game I think is going to get ported off of Stadia, so it won't remain exclusive to Stadia and just die a horrible death. But a game that will die a horrible death being shut down once Stadia goes away is a game called Outcasters, which I played and we talked very, very briefly about on the podcast at one point. But it's basically a party game, like a twin stick shooter type of a like multiplayer game that I actually thought was pretty fun. I played it a little bit here and there over the years and always thought that it didn't get enough attention. But I thought they were like, I thought I had heard a story or seen a story at one point about how the developers of Outcasters were working to like port the game to other consoles so that it was not going to stay a Stadia exclusive. And I thought, oh, once it does that, that's when it's going to kind of explode and be like the next Fall Guys or whatever. But instead, they have had to announce that they're not going to be able to do that because apparently it was designed and built exclusively for Stadia in such a way that it's like heavily reliant on the platform. And they would basically have to redevelop the game to get it running on other platforms. So basically it's not going to happen. So once Stadia is gone, Outcasters will just be lost to history, which is a shame, but there it is.
Now, longtime listeners will know that I engaged in Cyberpunk 2077 exclusively on Stadia, and the developer, CD Projekt Red, has come out this week and said, don't worry if you play this on Stadia. We've got this document, and you can use Google's Takeout app for like taking your information out. And they will
like
allow you
ordering
to
lunch.
I guess that's what I thought initially, but I guess Takeout is something you can use with Google to like export like information about yourself or like settings or whatever. It already existed, but they're using it for exporting your save data from Stadia and then importing it into like a Steam version or something like that. So that's great news for me, and I will be doing that eventually, or if I don't complete it already. Maybe I still will do it if I complete it so I can get the DLC as well and not lose any of my progress, but
yeah.
Good to know, and it's good that CD Projekt Red is jumping in. That was like the main... I feel like Cyberpunk 2077, a lot of people checked it out on Stadia because it was like the only good working one when it came out.
Yeah, Cyberpunk was one of the sort of few wins Stadia had in its existence. So
it's great that this exists, and if you are someone like me who played Cyberpunk 2077 on Stadia, check out, if you just Google like export save from Stadia or whatever, it'll come up.
I saw IGN had an article about it, so
IGN has an article about it.
Shouldn't be too difficult to find, but yeah.
Something else I wanted to talk about that's happening, I believe, as we speak or as we're recording this. The Minecon mob vote is happening. Minecon is happening this weekend. Every Minecon, they create 3 new mobs, and then the community gets to pick between them. And this year, the 3 mobs are... there's like a giant turtle. It's also a small turtle. It's like a small turtle, but I think becomes a giant turtle, and it can find like rare things. There is a stone golem that I think you can have in your house that like picks stuff up and looks all cute. And then there's like a thing that like looks at you in caves, and you have to find it. And if you find it 3 times, it gives you like a special item. So
the Sniffer, the Rascal, and the Tough Golem.
Yeah, I am going to vote for the Tough Golem, I have to say, because I think that would be a cool addition. The unfortunate thing is that with these mob votes, the other 2 will just never get added. So you really have to be sure what you're going to vote on, what you want to win. The Sniffer is probably my second thing I want the most. That's the little turtle thing. But I think that little stone golem is very cute. So another thing I wanted to talk about. Did you see all the coverage about Connect that happened? The Meta Quest Pro was released, or is being released.
I saw it was out there. I didn't really look at it.
I put in our show notes, there's a YouTube channel called Tested, which I used to follow pretty closely, but now I don't really do it except for when there's VR news, because they're great at doing VR news. And they released a like 30 or 40 minute video all about the Quest Pro. But the Quest Pro is not really consumer facing. Like I'm not going to go pick one up because it is 5 times the price of a Quest 2. It's like $1,500, whereas the Quest is like $300 or $400 now. But it's interesting. It's adding a lot of interesting technologies. They've shifted over to using what they call pancake lenses. So the front of the headset is quite a bit thinner now. They're using more layers of glass and lens technology in order to make it a lot lighter. Another thing they did is they shifted the battery to the back of your head. So there's like a curved battery on the back of your head. So a lot of people will say that something they don't like about playing a Quest Pro playing a Quest 2 for extended time is a little heavy on the front, on like the bridge of your nose. But they have adapted it. It actually seems like it's kind of stolen from the PlayStation VR because they also had like kind of a back strap style thing. But the controllers track themselves. They have cameras on them. So you no longer need to like have them in view of the headset. A lot of improvements. They say the screen door effect, which is the thing where obviously your eyes are very close to the panels. So you could kind of see the pixels, like the gaps in between the pixels. But the density is so high now, the screen door effect is totally gone. I've seen a lot of videos. So they're marketing this towards like businesses because no one, or I guess like the general consumer is not going to pay $1,500 for this. But they're really getting into AR with this. So like a lot of the demos you'll see is someone will put it on or like put it in front of their camera or whatever so you can see what it sees. And it like blows up a laptop. So like if you're sitting at a laptop, you'll put the headset on and suddenly you have like 5 screens around the laptop. And so it's kind of a productivity device where it gives you a ton of more screen real estate from a laptop. It's interesting. It's not something that I'm going to buy or that anyone should buy. Like it's something that maybe businesses will buy. But the only weird thing about it, I guess the price is weird, but Zuckerberg is all about that metaverse. He's trying to get it to go. And they had a video where they were like, hey, our avatars are now going to include legs. And then they showed it and it was like him in VR and he like jumps and like kicks his legs around. That was fake. They have later revealed that actually that was just motion capture. They have not really gotten the IK for legs fully implemented yet. So if you see that video, just know that those legs are due to animation that was done after the fact. But yeah, VR. I am still interested in VR. I'm interested to see what the Quest 3 will be whenever that comes out. Or if Valve will put out a standalone. I think they did already put out a standalone, but it was excessively expensive. It's interesting, though. John Carmack, who is their CTO, but I think only works there like once a day now, or once a week, because he's like moving into working on like general intelligence AI. He has said that his goal is to have a device that's 250 grams and $250. So that's like the benchmark he wants to hit, and that's when he thinks that VR is going to like take off in a major way, is a super low price point and also super low weight. And I think we're getting there. This is like a good stepping stone, almost a proof of concept, this Quest Pro. And hopefully they will iterate on it and create a cheap Quest 3 that will be available to the masses.
Is this like Zuckerberg's Horizon Worlds avatar thing? Does that actually exist?
It does. I don't think anyone uses Horizon. Actually, there were a lot of coming up until Connect, there were a bunch of articles about how they want everyone at Facebook and Meta, I guess it's called Meta now, to be using Horizon for like meetings and stuff, but nobody wants to.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them that John Carmack was talking about was there's not a great like always on solution right now. Like when you take the Quest off, you're going to turn it off and you're going to start to charge it, but that leads to a lot of problems because if you don't use it for like a week or 2 weeks, especially right now while they're iterating on the technology so much, you'll turn it on and it'll say like, oh, now I'm on and connected to the internet. Now I have to download updates. And so it's a real headache because you want to like, especially if you like have this at your house and you're like, oh man, I'm going to show my friends VR, and you turn it on for the first time in like a week, it like will block you and say basically like, hey, we've got updates to do before you can do anything. And it's just like, it leads to a lot of, play sessions ending in frustration instead of actually getting to the play session. So he recommended like some sort of docking situation where it could have a state where it's on, but not necessarily using a ton of battery just to like update stuff. But there's a number of reasons I think why, people at Meta are not interested right now in using it for, daily driver stuff. But I don't know.
Say, the only thing I saw about this was that Verge article that talks about how like their flagship metaverse app is like too buggy and employees like barely use it. And Jason Schreier was tweeting about it, and he was like, in the video game industry, one strong sign that you're making a hit is that your employees can't stop playing it. And he's like, I wonder what the opposite means.
I mean, it's definitely, I still see the potential in VR, and I hope for it, because there are interesting applications for it where you can drop in and have an avatar and just explore a persistent virtual world. But whatever Meta is making, I think is going to be too commercial, and people are not going to be into it. Like, they may make the hardware, but ultimately they're not going to be making the metaverse unless it's like whatever they're making is way too commercial, and people already don't trust Facebook. So like, people aren't going to be hopping into it.
I was going to say, like, from a game application, like, the metaverse makes plenty of sense to me. I get why that would be like a cool thing for VR, but like, whatever they're doing with it, like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, they want it to be like an office thing. They want it to be instead of the return to the office, they want remote work to, I think, be the standard, and for everyone to not have to commute, and to, like, for the the remote work to take place in VR. But I don't think we're there yet, and I don't think we'll be there for a while, because it just needs to work better, I think. And also the headsets need to get just a little bit more accessible and have a little more features. Like, the Quest right now, the Quest 2 has the ability to have just hand tracking where you don't need the controllers. And I think eventually we'll get to a point where the controllers will be sold separately. And because, the most compelling thing I've seen recently is that laptop thing where, like, you put the Quest Pro on, and then you just have, like, 5 or 6 screens persistently floating all around your laptop, and it's all coming from your laptop. So that's very interesting to me, to have, like, to be able to just, like, go somewhere with basically just maybe just like a computer in my pocket and a keyboard and a mouse, and just to be able to blow up a bunch of giant screens around me. That's very compelling to me. But again, that's just like one use case, and I think they really need to. That's basically just AR, and Apple's working on an AR headset as well. Which, actually, we can skip ahead to this Apple thing. Some details came out about the very secretive Apple AR VR headset. Apparently, it's going to scan your irises for, like, your identity and to, like, make payments, because your iris is something that is unique, like your thumbprint. But I just thought that was like a weird. There's just like a very small article on Ars Technica about how they're planning to. It's like the next step up from Face ID is like Iris ID for the Apple control or headset.
Yeah, that sounds like the Apple solution, which like scanning the iris, as long as it's accurate, would, be better than just like the face scanning that like Apple and like other phone makers have done. Like the new Pixel 7 I've been keeping an eye on, and like they do have like the built-in like fingerprint scanner, but they want you to use the like Face ID basically to sign in. And I was like, if I had that phone, I would probably just use the fingerprint scanner and not the Face ID. I've never liked that as a solution to like biometric logins.
Well, and especially in a place, I mean, maybe not in Iowa anymore, but I'm still at a place where like mask usage is still pretty heavy. So like, it's just like a bad time to have Face ID be your main deal.
Well, yeah, which is what Apple has, because I don't think they do like built-in fingerprint sensors unless I'm, missing it. But the other part is like, if somebody looks like you or just is able to get like a picture of you, like you can use that to get into their phone, which I'm like, I'm not into that as an idea. Like my brother and I look enough alike that he could probably get into my phone. Like he probably wouldn't, but I mean, in theory, like somebody that
your irises though will be different.
Exactly. That's why that is a more secure version of Apple or Face ID. But either way, what is this Final Fantasy VII shooter?
So, do you remember this First Soldier Battle Royale? It's something I was going to check out, but I don't think it ever came to PC. It was exclusively a mobile game, which I'm not super into. I don't really like to play touchscreen games, but this was a Battle Royale taking place in the Final Fantasy VII
I do remember
universe.
this, yeah.
It's going away. Much like Stadia in January, it will be no more. I don't know how many years it lasted. When did Final Fantasy VII Remake come out? I feel like that was like last year.
It was maybe 2 years ago. But I mean, yeah, this was not out long.
This launched on iOS and Android in 2021 in November. And so it's going away. So it lasted almost a year. Yeah, it made a year. But I wanted to play this. I heard it was interesting, but I can't play games on my phone. Even like using a controller and like hooking my phone up to, you know, a little tripod and playing it that way. I wanted this to come out to Steam because I would totally have checked it out because I love the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I like a BR. I'll play a BR. But it never really happened. You had spells in this, and you had like a job system. You could get mounts. You could get like a chocobo you could ride around on. It had a lot of interesting ideas for a battle royale, but it was like on mobile. So I don't think anyone in America at least played it really. And now you never will. So.
Yeah, if this had been like, if they had kind of gone the Fortnite route where they had a PC version and a mobile version, and maybe even like a console version, and it was more like kind of had crossplay and stuff like that, that may have worked because like the Final Fantasy brand is big enough, but like to do just a mobile one, I don't know. Seems like a bad idea.
I also, before we get out of the news and start talking about games that came out this week, I wanted to ask if you had a chance to play Overwatch 2.
I have not. I've been playing other things this week. I keep thinking about how I'm going to jump back in because I did see that I believe Blizzard had said that like more than 25 million players have jumped into Overwatch 2 just within like the first 10 days. So
That's
like
crazy.
It's been crazy popular, but I have not. I was gonna jump in and play it and then report back on impressions, but I have not gotten around to it yet.
It's TBD. Well, something near and dear to my heart came out this week. Cultic Chapter 1. They're much like that other game, whose name I can't remember right now. The one that's like thiefwithguns.com is the heading for it, or the URL for it. Cultic Chapter 1, it's going to come out over the course of a while. Like, Chapter 1, I think, is a couple of different levels, and I think it has all the weapons, but over the course of probably, like, the next year, they'll be releasing additional chapters. But Cultic is a game we did a video about a while ago. I think it was, like, a demo came out that I downloaded and played a couple of times because it was so good. Old school, it's, like, build engine style, right up my alley. You can kick people in it, and like there's a weapon where your right hand is holding a stick of dynamite and your left hand is holding like a Zippo lighter. And any game where that happens, I'm on board. But Cultic, it's cheap because it is like only the first chapter. I think it's only like $16 or something on Steam. So if you're into that retro style FPS, they call them boomer shooters sometimes. Definitely check out Cultic Chapter 1. It's the gift that will keep on giving because they're going to keep adding levels until it's a complete like 1.0 release.
I thought I had seen it on Steam for like $10.
It might even be $10, yeah, because it is, like I said, just to be clear, it's not the full game you're buying right now. You're buying just like the first chapter, which I believe is just the first couple levels, maybe only like 4 to 5 levels or something like that, and all of them are only like maybe a half hour in length unless you dig around and really find all of the secrets. So you're not going to get it's going to be maybe like a 6 or like an 8 hour experience right now. But like I said, it's coming. It's in the process.
Are you going to have to buy every single chapter or?
No, I don't believe so. I think it's going to be like once you get it, you're just going to, much like No Man's Sky, it's just going to continue to add on. I think eventually it will have multiplayer as well, but that's also not implemented at this time.
Well, speaking of things that are out this week, that Scorn game that you and I are very averse to came out, yeah. And people have been playing it.
Yeah, I just opened up Steam to look at Cultic, and it's Scorn is in the top sellers right now. You can get it for $35.99, and the screenshots that show up when you hover over it are gross.
Yes, when I checked Twitch the other day, like everybody was playing it, so like I guess there's interest in it out there, but it just like looks too gross to me.
Yeah, it turns my stomach. I'm not into that like wet body horror type
body
stuff.
horror, like biomechanical setting or whatever. But
Biopunk. No, thank you. Even that one game that came out that looked fun because it was like kind of retro. There was a game that came out maybe last year where it was a first-person shooter, but you like killed people and ripped out their organs and put them inside yourself to upgrade yourself. I don't remember what that was called, but that was also like a little bit too much for me, even though it was like everything only had like 5 polygons.
yeah, I know like Doom can be gross like that, but like not. This is like over the top even for that. It seems to be getting like maybe 7s out of 10. At least for the review I saw, it seems like a pretty short game too, like maybe roughly 7 hours, which is maybe why it's not full price. But I did watch somebody play part of it, and I was like, no, thank you. But also, it seems like the combat is like not that good. It's more like it's almost supposed to be rough in a way that makes you like dread combat, like they've done it on purpose to make it the combat feel kind of clunky and tough and not like, oh, it's just bad or whatever. But like that seems to be the sentiment, is that combat's not great, but it's maybe that way on purpose. But the problem with that is there's no like stealth system, so you can't like try to avoid combat. You have to do it, but it's just not good. So I don't know. Even if it is kind of, you know, where Doom also is a little bit gross, it doesn't have like the fun, fluid like combat of Doom. So there's not really much of a draw.
For some reason, the gore in Doom does not really get to me. Maybe it's because it's all monsters or whatever. But
it's not human.
Yeah, this is just like guns made out of like teeth and organs, and like you have to stick your hand into like weird holes that like suck up and start to bite into your veins and stuff to get upgrades. It's just, I don't know, man. It's not what I want.
Yeah, even like the weapons, like when you swap weapons, it looks, I don't know, because I didn't play it, but like from watching it, it looks like he just like puts his arm up and then like there's like a bloody stump at the end where you like attach like this like sort of gun that appears to be made out of like bone and like, I don't know, flesh of some sort, and then there's just like a bloody stump at the other end of that, and you just like put them together.
Absolutely just, like, not is what I say to that.
Disgusting to me, but I don't know. So yeah, anyway, not for us, but it's out there, I guess, if you want to check it out. I guess that aesthetic is somebody's, but it's not mine. But there were, I guess there's a couple multiplayer style games out there. Dragonball The Breakers, I guess, is out. I haven't seen anybody playing this.
Oh, is it fully out? I thought it was still in like some sort of larger closed beta.
It might be. I saw it on Steam, and it was like in the list of like new games that are out. It's like $20, but it seems to be getting mixed reviews on Steam. And one of the reviews I read said that like even though you're paying like $20 for it, there's like somewhat predatory microtransactions.
Gross.
So it's just like this seems like maybe it's not gonna be the hit that MinMax's Ben Hansen was hoping it would be. But the other multiplayer game that I saw that I think might also be in like some sort of early release stage, because this was not among, like, as I was glancing at Steam's recent releases, this was not among them, so I'm not sure what's going on with this game, but people have been playing it. I've watched a bunch of gameplay of it over the last day or two, and people seem to be into it. This is so do you remember that Evolve game where it was like like 3 or 4 people versus like one monster
from Turtle Rock?
This is basically that, where you've got like 3 or 4 people playing as Ghostbusters, and you have one person who's like Slimer, and so yeah, you can sort of hide and haunt things when you're playing as the ghost and you're trying to avoid them, and like you can slime the players when you see them, and they're basically trying to, throw the trap under you and shoot you enough to capture you.
I like that they have recreated the firehouse, it seems like.
Yeah.
At least in the gameplay that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think that's like the hub area in between matches. You're just like at the firehouse there. And like I saw one player was just like, while he was waiting for the match to start, he would just kept going down the pole, like sliding down the pole and then running back up and sliding down it again. And it seems to be, from what I saw, fairly accurate to the movie. The firehouse, the way they have everything laid out, which I think is cool. I don't know if I care too much about this particular style of multiplayer game, but I almost want to check it out because I do like Ghostbusters. So
I love Ghostbusters, yeah. And I think I am envious of people who have a big group of friends who are constantly playing online games together, because I think this could be a fun couple of weekends, especially in the Halloween times. But I don't super want to get together with a bunch of random people and do this.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Like, I'm torn because I do want to check it out, but I don't have that group of friends that are like playing games online. Mm-hmm. So I would have to play it with randoms, and I don't know if that would be as much fun. But anyway, that's out there. It seems pretty cool. Probably worth checking out if you do have that group of friends. Did you want to get into what we're playing and watching?
I haven't been playing that much stuff except for Dome Keeper. There is a game that popped up on my radar that I wanted to talk about that I think I am going to check out. It's another in those, I don't know what you would call this, vampire-likes or...
Vampire Survivors likes.
I've heard people refer to it as $2.99 likes, because all these games are $2.99.
I had heard a different one that I thought was better, but I can't remember what it was. Somebody had come up with like a term for this that didn't involve just having to say Vampire Survivors like, because it's
such a long thing to have to say.
Yeah.
It's called Bone Razor Minions. It's very similar to a Vampire Survivor, except that you're never doing the shooting. You're just like a dude, and the map is very small, which is also different from a Vampire Survivor. But you're in like a little graveyard, and you're just a dude, and people come to try to like kill you, and then you're constantly picking up things to... You're picking up bones, and then like every however many bones you can unlock a little dude that follows you and kills people for you. And it's very funny, like it's very tongue-in-cheek. A lot of the item descriptions are like overt lewd references to things, but it's pretty funny. And I think I am going to pick it up. The art style is very much like NES, but I find it very charming, and I like the music a lot. And it has a lot of interesting things that it's doing. Like every tombstone, eventually you can put something there. Like you can unlock different things to add to the playfield permanently. So like you can turn one tombstone into like a big tree that if people get too close to it, they get sucked in. Or like this tombstone, when like two people are next to it, those two people like pull close to each other and set on fire or something. But it's very retro. And it seems very chill, and like I said, the item descriptions are very funny. So Bone Razor Minions is something that I am going to check out, but
I'll have to look that up.
Also, I've just been watching a lot of anime because it's anime season, baby. It's Spy X Family. The second part of the first season is coming out, and it's been great so far. I watched the first episode of Chainsaw Man, which was, everyone was heavily anticipating, and it seems great so far, even though there's only been one episode. And then I also started the third season of Mob Psycho 100, which has also been great. Mob Psycho 100 is like one of the only animes where I will probably like laugh out loud at least once every episode, because it's just, it's very funny. And the art style, like the animation, is something I very much enjoy. It like really pulls from the comics in a way that I feel like a lot of anime doesn't, where like I can see that, this was definitely a frame from the manga. But those three I highly recommend. I think there's something else that's coming out imminently that I'm also going to start watching. But this fall has just been crazy for anime because like I feel like there's something every day that's releasing that I can watch. What have you been watching / playing?
Well, lately, I looked it up. The phrases I've heard to describe Vampire Survivors likes are reverse bullet hell and automatic horde shooter. Those are
Automatic horde shooter is good actually. That makes the most sense.
Those are the ones that I've seen people float out there as possible terms to describe this. But anyway, what I've been playing is just more Dome Keeper and Ghostwire Tokyo. In fact, I've mostly been playing Ghostwire Tokyo.
How is it? How have you progressed? How are you liking it?
I've really enjoyed it. So, like, we talked about the 360 and PS3 generation being, like, sort of known as the open world game, sort of console generation.
Far Cry 3 came out.
Yeah, there were so many. Well, like GTA 4 and 5 and like the first Red Dead came out, and you had all these, like, those are sort of the good examples. And of course you had Skyrim in there as well, but you also had these sort of ones that are not necessarily on that level, but you had a bunch of them where it was like Red Faction Guerrilla or Prototype, where they were not as polished and not quite as good, but they had like a similar appeal to them because they were open world games and they had their own interesting like quirks about them that made them stand out. But they were I say not as good as the other ones because the other ones, like side quests and those are like actual like little story quests, whereas in these other ones they're just like little activities and you kind of have like a handful of little activities to do. Yeah, I would maybe lump Ghostwire Tokyo into sort of that sort of second little group there, and similar to something like a Red Faction Guerrilla or a Prototype, where it's like it's an open world that has like a bunch of like little activities to do that can be a little bit repetitive, but like if you just enjoy like exploring an open world and like collecting stuff, and you're kind of okay with some of those side activities being a little bit repetitive, then this is like a pretty good one, because the map is not like, it's big, but it's like a cityscape. So it's also like very vertical. So you can like grapple to the top of buildings, and then like you have like a glide mechanic. So you can basically glide from rooftop to rooftop. And you like, there's stuff to get up on the rooftops. Cause you're like collecting spirits basically and sort of taking them to like a phone booth where you can sort of send them to the other side basically. And I kind of enjoy the combat as well. It's not like the best first person shooter ever, but
how's the writing?
It's okay. Like I've been putting off doing a lot of the main story stuff because I just want to like keep leveling my character up. And so I've been doing a lot of like the side quests, and you also like, you have these torii gates all over the map that you have to go to and sort of cleanse. And if you do that, you like open up a new area of the map, so you can like, there's more to explore. And so like more side quests and stuff pop up. So I've been going around trying to clear those so that I can open up the entire map before I try to move on. But I'm in, I want to say like chapter 4 of 6, and it's not bad. I'm like into it. I want to see where it's going, but it's also like not like the most, I don't know, it's not the craziest writing I've ever seen in a game, but it's solid. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I've been playing a lot of it, and like my nightly ritual this week has been like, after I'm done with everything, like an hour or two before I have to go to bed, I'll like put on an episode of that Taskmaster show.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll just like explore around Ghostwire Tokyo and just like collect stuff and do like little side things. Because it's something I can do without, like I don't have to pay attention to the story or whatever. And it's been fun. It's been a good October game as well. I do want to play more Dome Keeper, but I also kind of want more stuff to come out for that.
Yeah,
as well.
I think I'm at like 8 or 9 hours on my playtime right now, and I've unlocked the biggest size map, and now I'm ready to just like wait until they release a new thing, like the Assessor or something. So I'm probably gonna pause on it until they do something like that.
Yeah, I have played enough of that game that I like get it and I like it and I think it's fun, but like I'm also not like chomping at the bit to go do another run. Even though I do still have some stuff to unlock, like you have the dome shield, and then there's like 2 other ones. One's like an orchard, and I forget what the other one is. It's like
a gas, a repellent gas.
Yeah, I've not unlocked those yet, so I could go do that, which I might do because I think one of them is like really strong, because I've been watching a lot of people play Dome Keeper as well. I think one of them is like a damage over time thing to like the enemies that you activate like during the like attack phases. And he was like very impressed by using it. The YouTuber I was watching, he was like, wow, that actually is very good. Like it does a lot of damage. So I might have to do another run or two and try to unlock some of those, but yeah, mostly I'm just waiting around for the Assessor to come out so I can really jump back in and be super excited about like some new content for it. But I do like that game a lot. But yeah, I've mainly been playing Ghostwire Tokyo lately because I kind of want to finish it before, like, we've got like another week before like all the big games that I'm looking forward to start dropping. So
yeah, next week. I think next week is Rabbids.
It's Mario and Rabbids, and it's Persona 5 Royal.
Yes.
And then I think Bayonetta 3 as well?
No, I think Bayonetta 3 is the week after. I think it comes out on the 28th.
Okay. And then after that is, like, once we get into November, it's God of War. So.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to try. My goal is to finish up Ghostwire Tokyo and then jump into Mario and Rabbids and have that finished by the time God of War comes out. So that
that's a bold way that you're going to think you're going to do that.
I know, it is a little bit. Which that does mean that though I do plan on picking up Persona 5 Royal, that it's a little bit on the back burner just because I've kind of already played Persona 5.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend you jumping into it.
I think I might. It's something that I think me and my girlfriend could play together, and so I think we might pick it up.
It's true. It could just replace your anime time.
Yeah. Never. Nothing can ever replace my anime.
I mean, it is anime. There is an actual anime based on Persona 5.
Did you watch the anime?
I watched the first couple of episodes. That stays pretty true to the game, so I would say play the game, though, because you actually get to do the battles.
I just might.
Well, do you have any parting wisdom for us?
Man, I did. What was it? I thought of it before we started recording. Do you remember what it was?
Soup.
Soup. Everybody listen up. I used to not like soup, but I had soup recently, and I actually think the soup is pretty good. So my advice... Wait, was it just that soup is good? I don't remember.
No. It was about the, like, thickness of the broth.
Yes. If a soup is bad, it's probably because it's not thick enough. And so you should... A good soup is based on how viscous it is. So... man, I don't remember at all what I was going to say, actually.
You don't...
Soup is good.
Watery soup is not good. And you also don't want the broth to be too thick, so it's like a paste, basically. You need to find the perfect medium. And then you'll have a good bowl of soup. That's
your parting wisdom for today.
Eat soup, but make sure it's good soup.
Yes. Make sure the soup you're eating you're enjoying it.
Do not eat soup that you don't like.
Yes, that's the perfect way to end this podcast.
Maybe some of the best wisdom we've ever had on the show. Go ahead and follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Starside Cafe. And check out the website, starsidecafe.com. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.